I'm Rowan and I'm the project manager for the Electricals Recycling Fund at Material Focus.
Hi, I'm Esther and I am the Marketing and Communications Manager.
Hi everyone, I might say that I'm Scott, but I'm actually Niamh McBride. I'm the Environmental Partnerships Lead. A lot of names out there that we recognise, so thanks for coming today. So today's session, I'll be handing over to a couple of the team who know a lot more about this than me, but we'll do a quick introduction of who we are and then we'll dive into all the stuff that you've come for, that you're interested in. So just as a quick introduction, hopefully a lot of you know who we are and what we do, but in case you don't, we are Material Focus. We are the independent not-for-profit behind the Recycle Your Electricals campaign. That's our UK-wide behaviour change campaign, making it easier for everyone to fix, donate, repair, recycle their old and wanted electricals across the UK. And we do this through three main areas. First one being insights. So this is all the different bits of research that we look into. We're constantly producing and sharing insights to ultimately help improve the e-waste sector across the system. Next up is investments. So a big part of what we're doing here today is to talk about the Electrical Recycling Fund, but we're constantly identifying and funding projects that essentially makes it easier for people to reuse and recycle their electricals. And then finally is inspiration. So this is everything that falls under our Recycle Your Electricals campaign. And if you haven't seen him, we do have a pink fluffy mascot, Hypnocat, that's out there hypnotising the nation into doing the right thing. So that's a quick summary of who we are. And I'll hand over to the team to give you a bit more information.
Brilliant. Thanks, Niamh. So the main aim of the webinar today is to give you a bit of an introduction to our helpful how-to guides. These have been recently added to the resources section on our website, and they've been made as a way of condensing all our learnings from the funded project pilots to date, so that you have all the information you need to set up your own pilots. So regardless of whether you're applying for funding or not, there's plenty of info there that applies to everyone. And that includes things on bring banks, community drop-off points, curbside, repair and reuse, setting up collections for flats and collecting vapes as well. Perfect. So within the how-to guides, we've got our top key learnings from previous pilots, which we'll come around to a little bit later. We've also got a cost summary for key components. So these are just estimates, but we found it's really helpful to have a ballpark figure for things like bins or printing in order to plan your project budget or scope out your funding application if you decided to apply for this round of funding. So we've also got pilot spotlights. So those are helpful case studies from previous successful pilots, including their collections or communications methods that they've used. And there's also a checklist to help you plan and prepare all the tasks for your project launch. So these are our on-street bring banks. You can see the big pink one there is our material focus bring bank. So these tend to be accessible 24 hours. They are usually outdoors and they have quite a robust design and a large capacity. So for these, we've found that location is critical. So placing banks in busy, high footfall areas like outside supermarkets, rather than residential estates, that can really maximise engagement on these. It's also good to plan your logistics early, so establishing collection routes and schedules before the launch. That can help to prevent overflowing, especially at the busier urban sites. It's also good to prepare for maintenance, so just make sure you've got a backup plan for repairs or refurbishment, just in case there's any vandalism or accidental damage to the banks. And then onto our community drop-off points. So you can see these here, and they tend to be located in community buildings, and they're often smaller and in indoor locations. So for these, we've found the most important thing is strong partnerships from the start. So success definitely relies on early collaboration with local partners. So that'd be your schools or libraries, community centres, and volunteer teams who are hosting the sites. It's also important to proactively monitor the bring banks. So make sure you're regularly checking up on them for any incorrect items or contamination. And if you do find some, just updating the signage where needed can really help to address the issue. There's also the option of incorporating repair and reuse with these. So beyond just recycling, these locations can be great for hosting repair cafes or rehoming events, which can give the items another lease of life. So we're not directly funding repair this time around, but it's definitely something to think about outside of your funded pilot application. So on to the success of the fund so far. So far we've worked with over 70 pilots across the UK who've used our funding to make recycling, repair and reuse easier for the general public. So we've funded over 700 bring banks and community drop-off points, making electrical recycling easier for 12 million people. And through those, we've recycled over 900 tonnes of electricals, which is fantastic. So on the next slide, you can see this is the map of projects we've worked with so far, and it stretches all the way from the Isles of Scilly up to the Highlands of Scotland. And one of those funded projects we worked with was with Gravesham Borough Council. And we've actually got Joel here today who's going to talk you through what they did as part of their project. Joel, are you able to hop on?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for allowing me to speak about our project. So our project was to provide 18 bring banks at high footfall locations and 20 additional containers at our independent living sites, all of which were located within a 1 mile radius of residents' homes. We did a great deal of communication as well. So we did a leaflet drop to 45,000 properties, and we included pieces in our borough-wide magazine, and we had more than 92,000 engagements on our social media in the first year. Next slide, please. So in the first year, we collected 27,500 items and recycled 25 tonnes of small electricals through the bring banks. And in terms of the legacy of the project, we still have the bring banks in use, almost 3 years on, and we've collected more than 60,000 items now, weighing in at 53 tonnes. And they continue to be well used and appreciated by residents. And we've continued to work with our local repair cafe as well, to signpost our residents to reuse opportunities and to our recycling banks when they can't be repaired. So our advice to any prospective projects would be to fully embrace HypnoCat. We think that the branding is nationally recognisable now, and really grabbed residents' attention. Monitor the bring banks frequently, I believe, as the material focus staff said earlier on. Contamination can be an issue, and you can see on the screen there some additional stickers that we put onto the bins when we found non-target material. And finally, do fully engage with the projects team. I found them to be really helpful when we've had a problem, and indeed, even since our project, the 12-month span of our project came to an end, we still have contact with the projects team, and indeed they contact me for advice about different issues that we've had with our bring banks and how to do it successfully. I think that's it from me.
That's great. Thank you so much, Joel. It was really nice to hear that overview of your project and for you to share your learnings with everyone else. So yeah, moving on to how you can get involved. So the next slide, please. So our Electricals Recycling Fund is now open for applications until the 31st of May. There is 1 million available in this funding round, and to apply, visit the Material Focus website to submit your application before the deadline. And yeah, thank you, Tally. So in this funding round, we're focusing on pilots that make it easier for households to recycle small electrical items at convenient local drop-off points. This is such as on-street bring banks, community collection points, and the refurbishment of existing banks. The aim is really about improving accessibility and visibility so that recycling electricals can be a simple everyday action for residents. In terms of who can apply, the fund is open to established community sector organisations, such as local authorities. However, for this round, we won't be funding profit-making businesses or small community groups, such as parish councils, community shops, or youth clubs. If you are a small community organisation, We'd encourage you to visit our resources page where you can download our free community toolkit or get in touch with us to explore how we can help. And the next slide. So download our application pack on our website for more information on how to submit your application. It includes our applicant's guide, FAQs, funding criteria, as well as documents to help you prepare your application. And then keep an eye on our newsletter to find out what's coming up next. So we'll have how-to guide webinars, as well as our wider communications campaigns. So things we have coming up this summer, we'll be launching new research into pet tech, things like smart feeders and light up dog toys to raise awareness that these are electrical items and should be recycled at the end of their life. Then later in the year, we'll be relaunching the Great Cable Challenge to coincide with International E-Waste Day, helping people recycle unused cables and small electricals. And towards the end of the year, we'll be running our Stop Battery Fires campaign, continuing to highlight the dangers of binning batteries and electricals. So please do look out for those campaigns to come along and get involved just to really amplify the campaigns for us.
Amazing, thank you both. And just to follow on from what Esther was just explaining, the Stop Battery Fires campaign has been a really important campaign for us over the last couple of years. It's something we've made and developed with you in mind, lots of conversations with you. We know this is a widespread problem across the UK. And in our previous campaigns, we've been really lucky enough to get a lot of media coverage, and that has quoted our research in that. Some of you might have seen last time we ran it, it was 1,200 fires in the waste stream were caused by these incorrectly disposed of batteries and electricals. So we are looking to redo that. But we need your help. So it would be great if any of you would be willing to contribute some data to this. So we're really interested in learning from you about your experiences across 2025 and battery fires and electrical fires that you've maybe have had in the waste streams. So in collection vehicles and also transfer centres, that type of thing. So if anyone's interested, please do get in touch and we can share the survey with you. All the details of kind of how it will be used and shared are in there. But any questions, please let me know. And I think that brings us to the end of the presentation, but now hopefully is a good time to get stuck into any questions you might have. Thank you all for listening and thank you for coming along today.